I was inspired by some macrame jar covers on Pinterest for the design of these jar covers. They are very quick and easy to make and are a great way to dress up some recyclable jars you may have laying around. They also make really great gifts. Stay tuned! For a full list of supplies, see the description box below. I have two different styles for this particular pattern, and in this one I have long fringe. And I really like how it looks, but I also wanted to see how it looked with just some tassels. So this is another option that you could do to add a little character to the jar cover itself. For these I used Red Heart Fashion crochet thread, but I don't have enough of it left, so today I'm going to use Lion Brand Comfy Cotton Blend. So the cover itself is worked from the top to the bottom in the round with a slight increase at the bottom. So you need to chain in multiples of 12 until it fits around the top of the jar. For me, that was 36 chains. I am recycling a spaghetti jar that I had in my cabinet. So your jar may be a different size than mine. You just want to make sure that you have multiples of 12. So now I'm just trying it on the jar for size. You don't want it to be too tight. This is just right. Now, being careful not to twist your chain, join with a slip stitch to the very first chain that you made. This is going to create a ring. Now we're going to begin our stitch pattern. Chain 6. This beginning chain 6 will count as a double crochet and a chain 3 space. In that same space, we are going to make another double crochet. This counts as a V-stitch. A V-stitch consists of a double crochet on each side separated by a chain 3 space. Now we are going to chain 3 and skip 5 stitches. In the 6th stitch, you will make another V-stitch. Again, that is a double crochet. A chain 3 space, and another double crochet in the same stitch. A double crochet on each side separated by a chain 3 space. Now you will chain 3 and skip 5. In the 6th stitch, you will do another V-stitch. Again, that is a double crochet, a chain 3 space, and another double crochet in the same stitch. You should see a pattern forming here. Chain 3, skip 5. Make a V-stitch in the 6th stitch. You're just going to continue repeating this pattern till you get to the end. Here I am at the end. I've made my last chain 3. I'm skipping the last 5 stitches. And in the beginning chain 6, I'm going to slip stitch in the 3rd chain. this is the end of round 1. This is what it should look like. I'm going to slide it over my jar to make sure it still fits. Looks good. Now we're going to slip stitch into the chain 3 space of our very first V-stitch. We're going to start round 2 by chaining 3. This will count as a double crochet. Make 2 more double crochet in the same chain space. That counts as 3 double crochet. Now we're going to chain 3 and add 3 more double crochet in the same chain 3 space. I'm going to refer to this as a cluster V-stitch. A cluster V-stitch is 3 double crochet separated by a chain 3 space and then 3 more double crochet, all in the same space. Now we're going to skip over the next chain 3 space and work another cluster V-stitch in that chain 3 space of the V-stitch below. So skip over the next chain 3 space and make 3 double crochet, a chain 3, and 3 more double crochet in the same chain space. Again, I'm calling this a cluster V-stitch from here on out. This is what it should look like. Just repeat making cluster V-stitches in the top of every chain 3 space of the V-stitches below. Here I am at the end of round 2. I've made my last cluster V-stitch. I'm going to skip that last chain 3 space, and to end I'm going to slip stitch into the 3rd chain of the very beginning chain. This is what your piece should look like. Now for round 3, I'm going to make another V-stitch round, and I really need to be in that chain 3 space. So I'm just going to slip stitch until I get there. So go ahead and slip stitch into the stitches and into the chain 3 space. Now we're going to start a V-stitch round, so chain 6. Again, that chain 6 counts as a double crochet and a chain 3 space. Make 1 more double crochet in that same space. Our very first V-stitch is made. Chain 3, make another V-stitch in the next chain 3 space. Chain 3, make another V-stitch in the next chain 3 space. You're just going to continue this all the way around until you get to the last chain 3 space. So here I am, I've made my last V-stitch and my last chain 3, and I'm going to slip stitch into the 3rd chain of my beginning chain 6. Now for round 4, I'm going to do another cluster V-stitch round. So I'm going to slip stitch into the chain 3 space and chain 3, that'll count as my first double crochet. Make 2 more double crochet, a chain 3 space, and 3 more double crochet in the same space. Again, that is a cluster V-stitch. Skip the next chain 3 space and make another cluster V-stitch in the top of the V-stitch below. We're going to continue making cluster V-stitches in the top of every V-stitch below. Here I am at the end. I've made my last cluster V-stitch. I'm skipping the last chain 3 space, and I'm going to slip stitch into the 3rd chain of my beginning chain 3. This is how your piece should look. I'm going to slide it onto my jar and make sure that it's the size that I want. I have decided to stop at this round with my regular rounds because I know I have 2 more rounds that will increase, and I want to have enough space to have the fringe at the bottom. So the next 2 rounds are what I would consider the finishing rounds. I'm going to slip stitch until I get to that chain 3 space, because again, I need to be working from that space. Now for round 5, which is the first increasing round, I'm going to chain 6. This will count as a double crochet in a chain 3 space. Double crochet in the same space. That is our first V-stitch. Now we are going to chain 3 and make an increase in the next chain 3 space. So we will start off by making a regular V-stitch, which is a double crochet, a chain 3 space, and another double crochet. Now we are going to chain 3 because we want 2 V-stitches. So that was a chain 3 space, and now we're going to make another V-stitch in the same space. Here's what it should look like. A V-stitch here, a chain 3 space here, and another V-stitch here. It looks like 3 V-stitches, but it's technically 2 V-stitches separated by a chain 3 space. So in our very first one, we made a regular V-stitch, and then we increased. Now we're going to do another regular V-stitch. So go ahead and chain 3 and make a V-stitch in the next chain 3 space. We are only going to increase every other chain 3 space. So this is just a regular V-stitch here. Chain 3, skip to the next chain 3 space, and now we're going to do another increase. Again, that is a V-stitch, a chain 3 space, and another V-stitch in the same space. This is what it should look like. Since we're increasing every other, the next one will not be an increase. Chain 3 and make a regular V-stitch. So just keep repeating this pattern. V-stitch, increase, V-stitch, increase, V-stitch, and now an increase. So chain 3, an increase in our last chain 3 space. That's a V-stitch, chain 3, and another V-stitch in the same space. Now we're going to chain 3 and slip stitch into the third chain of our beginning chain 6 to end round 5. This is what it should look like. Now we're going to slip stitch into the chain 3 space and chain 3 to begin round 6. Make a cluster V-stitch. Skip the next chain 3 space. Make 3 double crochet in our very first V-stitch. In the chain 3 space, make a cluster V-stitch. In the chain 3 space of the next V-stitch, we're going to do 3 more double crochet. This is what it should look like. So in our very first V-stitch, we did a regular cluster V-stitch. But in our increase, we did 3 double crochet flanking the cluster V-stitch. This makes a larger point. Skip the next chain 3 space and make a cluster V-stitch in the chain 3 space of the next V-stitch. Skip the next chain 3 space and put 3 double crochet in the next chain 3 space. In the next chain 3 space, make your cluster V-stitch. In the next chain 3 space, make 3 more double crochet. This is what your piece should look like. You should have a small point followed by a large point. So just continue this pattern until you reach the end. So here I've made my last large point in my increase. And I'm going to skip the last chain 3 space and slip stitch into the 3rd chain. Now I'm going to fasten off. Grab your jar and slide your cover over the top. Now, depending on whether or not you want to make tassels or fringe, it will be up to you. For this one, I'm going to make fringe. So I'm going to measure the space that's left till it reaches the bottom. I want it to look like this one. So I'm going to put a strand of yarn in each stitch. So you'll need to count every stitch around. For me, I had 60 stitches, so I need to make 60 pieces of fringe. So it looks to be about 3 inches to the bottom, or about 7 centimeters. Since that's not very big, I'm just going to use my fingers. I'm going to wrap my fingers 60 times so that I can have a piece of fringe for each stitch. So going from back to front, place your hook, fold your fringe in half, and using the lark's knot, secure the fringe. Just continue to do that in every stitch and chain space around. Make sure that you are placing your hook from back to front. So just continue doing this until you reach the end. Your boho jar cover is complete. I hope that you enjoyed this tutorial today. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for watching.